morning, viewers. Thank you very much wherever you are across the continent of Africa and across the universe. This is Matsanga Africa Perspective Show, a program that is presented to you from Punchline Africa Television in headquarters in Nairobi, Kenya. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are sleeping in Russia, wherever you are on the battlefield between Ukraine and Russia, which is causing us a cold war in Africa. Good evening, good afternoon in Australia, wherever you are going back to bed, Africa has already woken up. This is Matsanga Africa Perspective, a show that brings us all that talks about Africa. What ails Africa? What kills Africa? Why is Africa always called Africa? And why are we isolated when we are the producers of all the raw materials that the world wants? Coltan, gold, diamonds, timber, name them, iron ore, salt. It all comes here. The best one you can get, you get it here. But we are the laughing stock of the world. What went wrong with Africa? This is Punchline Africa Television, the only television south of the equator in sub-Saharan Africa that looks at the plight of the people of Africa. We have talked about Biafra. We have talked about Amazonia. We have talked about Central African Republic. We have talked about Somalia. We have talked about Democratic Republic of Congo. We have talked about Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. We have talked about Burkina Faso, Mali. We have talked about Khartoum. And we have talked about Sudan, the upheavals in the Sahel region. We have talked about a country once called Nigeria that has fallen apart. Kidnap, killings, abduction, murder, rape are happening. And we cannot be ashamed and sit here on this platform and say we are very proud Africans when we have a country as big as Nigeria with a population of 220 million people, with 241 waterfalls. It doesn't have electricity. What a shame. What a shame. Buhari, I am also a general like you. The training you took is the training I took. So if people don't want to take on you, I will take on you. I've taken on you. After 4 years, let me say 6 years, my television has been strong. I have been an advocate for the people of Biafra. They wanted a referendum, they were rejected. They were refused. Instead, Buhari sent troops to kill them, to maim them, to slaughter them, to rape the women, the children, to destroy their property. Are you not ashamed as an African for a BBC documentary to show people living on water? Are you all from Miriam, Elibs, Tawish, Dr. Tej, my brother Nwecheke? Are we not ashamed that they show a show worldwide? People living, going to their houses through a canoe, a boat stops outside. Is this the Nigeria that drills the crude oil, sends out the crude oil, and brings back refined fuel, which costs more and it is not there? A country of queues, lines, queuing for petrol, yet it is the third producer of crude oil in the whole world, and opaque regulations. What killed us? Who bewitched us as a continent? Are we the people to resurrect this continent? What shall we leave for the next generation? This plus so many other things. This topic today We are going to look at the hits, the word hits, English, H-I-T, the hits and the misses. 62 years of independence since Nigeria got independence. What are the hits and the misses? We started with several hits. General Aronzi, 6 years down the road, arrived on Baba Tafawa Balewa, removed him from power. The civil war started. I am just, it is here, it's in my head. It is, I'm not looking anywhere. The civil war starts. Nigeria goes, Biafra is being killed. 2 million Biafrans starved to death. Total Oil. Who is causing this problem in Africa? Shell BP, Total Oil. And these are the companies that we should welcome in other African countries. Do Africans learn a lesson? I'm speaking. Do we learn a lesson, Miriam, on how we know Total Oil has caused wars everywhere? And we still continue welcoming them in our other countries that are stable. What will Africa learn from this? This is Matsanga, Africa, perspective. If I don't talk now, when will I talk? If I don't say it, who will say it? If I don't shout for the people, call out to the people, who is going to call out? Our founding has called out people. They got us independence. Can we also now call people and get a rebirth, a renaissance? Africa needs a renaissance. Biafra needs to be liberated. They're asking for a referendum. Give it to them. Don't call for terrorists when they are not terrorists. Terrorists are in the bush in Madiguri. Go and look for them. Boko Haram is upstairs there. Boko Haram is the terrorist group, but not the Biafrans, who are simply saying, we want a referendum to choose. Why do you call a referendum for Ukraine? Why does Russia call a referendum and it does it and it goes away? Miriam yesterday said they voted while guns were right. That is the Africa we have. That the world we have of World Security Council, United Nations permanent member, goes and annexes another nation. But you in Africa, when you try to say, I also want a referendum, the United States of America looks the other way in the Atlantic Ocean and draws more oil, more oil, more oil, while you are being beaten, whipped, raped, defiled by the regime. Isn't it so, Mr. Nachweke? That's it, what is happening in Biafra. The Americans, the Western powers, they know very well the Biafran people want a referendum, but nobody's giving the Biafran. That is the topic today. The hits and the misses of 62 years of independence. Is there anything that we can be proud of, apart from the 6.1 feet tall man, whom Nigerians themselves call under disclaimer that he's not the real man, not me, but it is them. So I am saying disclaimer. We have another man who is not the real person. I think he reacts that way, and I can see the wife was speaking from Dubai. Plenty of millions and millions of Kenya, of dollars she touched outside. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's open it up. Miriam Ogutu in Nairobi. Good morning. Quickly. There you are, the microphone. I learned. I have now discovered that word, I learned, and I yield the microphone to you. Thank you very much. Introduce your guests.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that introduction. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in. And joining us from the show is Matsanga, Africa Perspective, and you're going to look at Nigeria at 62. Nigeria celebrated its Independence Day on the 1st of October 2022, and we're going to look at. I do have a speech from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa when Nigeria was receiving its independence. So perhaps we shall be doing some comparison, if at all, what was the dream he had for that country, the founders of the independence of Nigeria, and where is Nigeria? How has Nigeria performed for 62 years, over the last 62 years? And of course, President Muhammadu Buhari's speech also, which has been criticized by a lot of Nigerians. It appears it did not capture a lot of aspirations and the things that perhaps the people of Nigeria were expecting that the president will capture and address and acknowledge as far as celebrating the independence of that country is concerned. And also the question of Biafra will also form part of our conversation, as Dr. Matsanga has already said. But I think it will be proper, just a quick update, the headlines quickly from Kenya, and then we'll just get back to the show. The Daily Nation, state of the shilling, that is the main headline, and then the Star newspaper, renegades lining up to topple Raila, and then the Standard newspaper, Ruto turns to GMOs in face of food crisis. So that is the lead, what we have on the leading newspapers in the country. I will not waste too much time on that. We are joined this morning, I'm not sure if I got your name right, so I think I would like for you to introduce yourself. Our guest, I think I see a Biafra child or something. Could you just tell us your name, please?
All right. Thank you very much. I'll also use this opportunity to greet Mazi Matsanga and the other people on this program today. My name's Mazi Okenna Okechukwu, known as the Biafran child Nwachineke, the general. Of course, I am from Ihala in Anambra in Biafra land. I am from IPOB Rapture Media under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I will stop here. Thank you very much, my sister Punch African Television.
All right, thank you so much, and it is a pleasure to have you on board. And we are also joined by Wanda Wesonga. Wanda Wesonga, a very good morning to you. Thank you for finding time to be with us today.
Wanda Wesonga.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to Dr. He said Tech. Dr. Tech. Good
Dr.
morning.
Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my name is Dr. Tech from Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more to say.
All right, good morning to you. And we're also joined by Samuel Tawish, our correspondent and in-house analyst, and is also a journalist from Kenya. Samuel Tawish, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning indeed to you, Miriam Mobutu from our communication headquarters. Good morning to Dr. David Matsanga, and of course all the panelists and all the viewers watching the program in Kenya, Africa, and the rest of the world. My pleasure to join you on this program. Good morning, Miriam.
All right, a very good morning to you. Wanda Wesonga, you can hear me. Good morning. We need to know that you're there. All right, I'm sure he's there, and when he's able to speak, maybe some bit of a technical hitch there, I'm sure he will speak to us. So, Doc, before I just get back to you, I'll just read maybe a line or two at that speech by Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, as he acknowledged the independence of Nigeria on the 1st of October 1960. But now we have acquired our rightful status, and I feel sure that history will show what the building of our nation proceeded at the wisest pace. It has been through, and Nigeria now stands well built upon firm foundations. So that is what he said. At the time when our constitutional development entered its final phase, the emphasis was largely on self-government. We, the elected representatives of the people of Nigeria, concentrated on proving that we were fully capable of managing our own affairs, both internally and as a nation. However, we are not allowed to be selfish. Luxury of focusing our interests in our own homes. In these days of rapid communications, we cannot live in isolation apart from the rest of the world, even as we wished. All too soon, it has become evident that our independence implies a great deal more than self-government. So he was just trying to reiterate the responsibility that now was given to the people of Nigeria as far as self-governance is concerned. So I don't know if he resurrected today, if that is even a word, what he will make of Nigeria today. Back to you, Doc.
Thank you very much, viewers across the continent of Africa and those watching us on live, those who will pick up this clip and watch. This is Dr. David Matsanga right from London headquarters of Punchline Africa Television, together with Miriam in the headquarters in Nairobi. Let's do it. Let's look at Nigeria, the hits and the misses. 62 years of independence. Let me begin with you, Biafra child. When Baba Tafawa Balewa took independence, the Wales, the flag, Miriam has read you part of what he said. We have got it. We have got a self-determination for our people. What went wrong? What has gone wrong? From the time go up to today, Nigeria has never been stable. From the time of General Aronzi arriving on the streets, taking over, this country has been in turmoil. This country is the biggest country in population status across the continent of Africa. It has got a huge market. It would be delivering us through the poverty that we talk about. It would be giving us the oil, the fuel, the diesel, the cheap prices, the goods. We would be selling our avocados, our onions, our tomatoes, everything across as the Europeans do in the European Union. But it has gone down, down and down. What went wrong? Biafra child.
Thank you once again, Mazi Matsanga. And I will also use the medium to greet our audience. I will also greet the great people of Biafra. I will not forget to greet our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Okukano, who is today in DSS dungeon because of our own people. But Matsanga, I want to correct some impression here because there is something our people don't even understand. You said Nigeria is a country. Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria never be a country. That is something our people have to understand. When you are talking about 62 years of Nigerian independence, who are those that were there when they were seated to give them that independence or the amalgamation? I want the world to know that Nigeria, when the creation of that contraption called Damirebu Zoo, because Nigeria is a zoo, that is why you are seeing all the shenanigans today. That is why you can see that Nigeria can never stand. Because first and foremost, we are not one people. There is no how you can put different kind of people with different culture, way of life. You try to put all of them to get together to live. It can never work. It never ever worked before in any place in this earth that we are living today. But I want you to also understand that when Nigeria was formed, they did not call it Nigeria. They call it a Royal Niger Company. That is something that you have to understand. And I want you to always use Nigeria as a company. Nigeria is not a country. And when they formed this unity of, business, they call it business. I keep on telling people that Nigeria is extreme business of British people and Arab world. That is why you are seeing all these things happening today. And we also have to understand that the amalgamation of 1914 by Rugard have expired in 2014. So if you are telling me that Nigeria have their independence, who gave them those independence? And you have to also understand this. They will come and tell you that like Zik is a founding father of Nigeria. They will come and tell you that Tafawa Balewa or something like that, or all this Amadu Bello, they are founding father of Nigeria. Ask yourself, how old was these people when they amalgamated Nigeria? Some of them were 4 years old. How would they be a founding father? I want you, the world, to understand this, that Nigeria, they should stop talking about Nigeria. And I keep on saying only disintegration of that contraption can solve the problem. If we want all these things that is happening in Nigeria today to stop, only to cease Nigerian to exist. But if you are talking about the independent, can you tell me who the independent of Nigeria have helped? Up to date, we are keep.
Okay, Chuko, allow me to interject on your thoughts there just a moment, because I would like for us to understand, because I can hear your insistence on how Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria celebrated 62 years of independence, and I understand where you're coming from in the thought process, and I'm really trying to follow that. But on the other hand, Biafra is calling for a referendum, which you are supporting, and that is what the Biafrans have been agitating for. And they're calling for the independence to leave Nigeria. Okay, and Nigeria has to allow for that referendum to happen for Biafra to be independent. So if that is the case, therefore, then we have to recognize that Nigeria indeed is a country, because Nigeria has to allow for that referendum to happen for the Biafrans to if at all that will be allowed for Biafra to be its own country, and for Biafrans to decide on their own affairs. So we have to recognize that Nigeria is a country.
When you said that we are going to we have to recognize Nigeria as a country, I'm telling you,
because it is.
Okay. I will also disagree with you, because I am from that part of the world. I don't even know what you call Nigeria, but I will tell you,
it's called Nigeria. But
Nigeria, I don't know the continent of Nigeria. I know the continent of Yoruba, Oduduwa. I know even though the Fulanis, I know where they came from. I can tell you that Fulani are from here. I can tell you that Yoruba people are from somewhere. The Biafran people are from somewhere. Now, nobody is Nigeria. Do you know that nobody? You are going to agree with me that? Do you know that Nigeria has no culture? Do you know that Nigeria has no food? But when you come in that contraption, the indigenous people that find themselves in that contraption called Daminebuzu, Nigeria is a zoo. Nigeria is animal. Nigeria is a jungle that anything goes. That is the reason why today when you go to Nigeria, you are not going to see less than 100 people being killed every single day. And I want you to know this. We are pushing for our referendum, but our referendum will be based on the people. Because if you allow Nigeria can never give you anything. We are going to have uprising from people to demand their right from that contraption. I cannot say Nigeria is not a country. No, I can never believe that. I can, because I have suffered in the hands of these people. I left my country because of these people. People, I keep on going out. They will be telling you that Nigeria is a country. How can I say Nigeria is a country? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. My sister Punch African television, and Nigeria is not going to do good to anybody. If you find yourself in that contraption, or you are indigenous people or person find yourself there, you must stand, to do the needful by, forcing that contraption, because there is some people in that Nigeria that they are holding the power, and which is these people are foreigners. The Fulanis are the problem of that contraption. They are coming to take over people's land. They are coming by force. They are coming with what they call ethnic cleansing. Jihadism is real. They are coming to take over. Nigeria is for them. If you go back, I want you to know this. When you are saying that Nigeria is a country, if you go back to Ahmadu Bello.
I'm not the one saying, that is a fact.
Okay. That is because of the beneficial of some countries that, put those things together, because I call it things. They are not the people. They put it together to make sure, they begin to, extort and stealing from people. That is the reason why they call it Nigeria. Do you know that Nigeria means nigger? Do you know that? Niggers area. When English people will come and tell you that Nigeria is Nigeria, when you come where I'm living today, in Germany, they call it nigger area. When you go to France, they call it nigger. So these people are niggers, found in that particular area, and nobody's supposed to be a nigger. Nigger is something that is forbidden. So well, people may call it Nigeria, but I don't believe in Nigeria. And I'm still saying that when the independence happened, who was there when they were saying all these things? And I want you to know that also the independence, the amalgamation have expired in 2014. Have they renewed it? Go back to the amalgamation. Everything was written there. After 100 years, we are putting all these people together for a business. After 100 years, you people can also sit on a round table again and discuss how you people will move forward. That means that Nigeria is not a country. How can you bring a company together and be calling it a country now? So I want you to know that we are not part of Nigeria. We don't believe in Nigeria. We, the indigenous people of Biafra, under the leadership of Matsanga, of course, we have some ectoparasites in our land. Those shenanigans that are doing the beats of Fulani, they are not part of us. We will keep on pushing for Biafran restoration projects without stopping. Of course, most of us today are in exile. We cannot travel to our land, but that does not mean that we are going to stop fighting. We will keep on fighting till Biafra is totally restored. Our leader, Mazen Namikan, is also still there agitating today because of Biafran restoration, because he knows that Nigeria is not a country. Nobody is in Nigeria. Go and ask them. They will tell you. They will tell you. I think I will stop here. I don't know if you want to ask me some questions, so I can be able to pick it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Namzi Manzi, my dear brother.
Wachineke. Or you call me Mazo Okechukwu or Mazo Okechukwu.
Okay.
Mazo Wachiko. Thank you very much. Amelia, let me come in here as a scholar of international relations. Maps draw the boundaries of Africa. But there are people in Africa who never agreed to those maps so that we strike a balance here. We came up with the OAU, African Unity, Organization of African Unity. And we put in the Constitution of African Unity and the Charter that we should never go back to the question of boundaries again, because Africa the whole of us, we might find ourselves in Brazil. Because if you go by the mappings, geographically today, Somalia claims part of our territory, of the Kenyan in Kenya, where you are, says the essence here is to bring back the debate, the hits and the misses. Because Nigeria is called the state. Mr. Nakige was trying to, the Biafran child was trying to explain why the word Negro, meaning
Black.
It goes back to very, very bad words.
Actually,
black. They were black in the territory for black.
Yeah.
And he was telling you that Captain Lugard registered Nigeria as a trading company. In Kenya was registered as a trading company. Biafran child, you better know that from today. South Africa was registered as a trading company in Wall Street, in New York, up to today. South Africa is a trading company, not a nation. Kenya is registered as a nation, as a company, East African Trading Company, for purposes of extracting minerals, resources, oil. They registered Nigeria as a company. If you go to the archives in London, Nigeria is not registered as a nation. It is up to today registered as a company. So, Miriam, from that basis, it is where our guest today is coming to say, look,
but Nigeria is a country. Nigeria is a country today.
Yes, it is a country.
We have to recognize that.
Geographically and by the constitutive arrangements of Africa, Nigeria remains a state constitutively. I think let's balance so that we move on. If we get stuck there, we might not see the misses. Okay, one of the misses, Miriam,
Yes.
you are right. One of the misses is that one. And the one, you see, we have missed the point there. We missed the point there because there is something which is not right. People were told that after 100 years, all of you will go your way because we registered you as a company, trading company. That's a miss. That's colonialism. That's neo-colonialism that came. That is the centric, the doctrine of theft that started a long time ago. That has seen, if you look at the Francophone speaking countries, that's why you see coups, military coups coming up, in, out. I am telling you in the name of God, is the doctrine that the French brought in those countries. They came to us trading. They registered them in Paris as stock exchange companies. That's why you see they collect the money and they do the budget in Paris, then return the money. When Thomas Sankara came up and said, no way, I'm not going to accept this, he got the bullet. He was assassinated. When Balewa and that they are under a company, people started struggling in 1966. You know that, my brother from Biafra, you know it. People started saying, where are we? We are a population that does not need to be registered.
And Matsanga, do you know the worst part of this?
Yes.
That even though the name of Nigeria was not something that was seated on a round table to discuss with the people, it's a girlfriend to regard, which is for a show. Just slept, wake up early in the morning, and just say that we are going to give these people nigger area. And all of them were agreed. And our great-grandfathers, the founders, or I don't even know where they are. Nobody was there when they were saying all these things. And now the amalgamation have expired in 2014. Why can't those people come again? Let us now sit on a round table. If we can continue with Nigeria, then we know. Now you can see in Biafra land, when you are talking about Nigerian wealth or the mineral resources that are making Nigerian where they are today, it's in Biafra land. But if I'm telling you that in today, when you go to Biafra land, you can never see any government presence. They have taken everything to the west and north. They just want to put us down. They don't want us to breathe at all. They just want to suck us and milk us dry. And that is the reason why we are crying. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, and the mass movement on this planet Earth, you can Google it. We are the best. And we are fighting the good fight. And there is no how we are going to stop. So I'm asking them, why can't they sit on a round table? Today you see them talking about Igbo presidency. They are talking about taking Nigerian back. Like, this is what they have been saying from day one. Up to date, we want to bring Nigerian back. We want to bring Nigerian back. How can you bring something that was not formed by our own people? One person just came and said, you, today you are one people. But it can never work that way. We don't speak the same language. We don't speak the same dialect. We don't eat the same food. We don't have the same culture. That is the reason why Nigeria is how it is today. Because we are not the same people. When you ask Fulani, we told you they were born to rule. And the oil, mineral resources is coming from our land called Biafra. And how do you want us to be part of Nigeria when we are not getting anything? Why all the resources is coming from our land? These people just want to use us after the genocidal war against Biafra people. Of course, Matsanga, you said 2 million. That was the kids. Only the kids. They were, they have what they call Kwachoko. I don't know what they put it in English. This is only people that die on 2 million people. Most of our people, we are more than 10 million people died in that genocide.
Malnutrition, yes.
Yes, yeah, that is the 2 million people. Where they never talk about the soldiers, the adults, the adoption, the kidnaps, and the mass murder of our people. They never talk about that. They killed more than 10 million of our people. And today, the world never want to recognize that genocide committed against our people by Nigerian people.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, comrade. We want to push forward. That is part of the myth. The myth started a long time ago. Nobody recognizes that the Biafran War produced a genocide. That's a myth. And it has gone on. Why is the problem not healing, Miriam? Let's look at a wider scope. Why haven't we healed? From 1967 up to today, there is still something that is not right, because accountability was not given to the people of Biafra. And we have seen this in the conflict in South Sudan. Why it is fragile? Because accountability has not been given to the people. Over 348,000 people in South Sudan died. But in our agreements, we arrange political power, but we have not arranged human rights power to accountability, to restitute, to have a redemption strategy of healing process. How many presidents have passed since 1967? So many presidents, including Obasanjo, the one you see running around creating peace everywhere, in other parts, looking for money to build more libraries. You know, how many of them have sat down and looked at the doctrine? The only thing that can create a better Africa is the doctrine of a redemption strategy, where there is reparation, restitution, forgiveness, reconciliation on good terms. You cannot call a Biafran go back home when he's in Enugu, in Kano, up in Nigeria. You tell him go back home. It's not your home. Where is his home? These are facts. Biafrans are discriminated within Nigeria itself. They are discriminated. So they find themselves in a corner, ready to die. What else is left there? They ask for a referendum, it is not there. That's a miss. Where have we hit? The only good thing that we have hit so far are military coups. we have hit one. We have hit Babangida. We have hit Abacha. We have hit Abdel Salam. We have hit. How many? There is another one. Several of them. Where do these hits come from? Tawish, let's move to you. You have been on this subject for a long time. You and I, we have seen the dangers of an Africa disintegrating as a result of people failing to the cause of a referendum. The people of Biafra have just said, give us a referendum. Let's select 84 million voters in Nigeria registered to vote. Only 28 turn up. Where did the 54? Tell me, where did the 56 go? If you say you are ruling a country, where did the 56 million go? They sat at home. They didn't want to know about your elections. 54 million people. 56 million, Miriam. 28 only came out to vote. And mainly those who voted are from the north. And in some parts of the north, not all, but the rest of the populated, densely populated areas where there is production, the raw materials, which Nigeria sells to some of those in the north, voted. 56 million people. 56 million people. 28 only came out to vote. And mainly those who voted are from the north. And in some parts of the north, not all, but the rest of the populated, densely populated areas where there is production, the raw materials, which Nigeria sells to some of those in the north, voted. Is that country balanced? Do we have balance here? If we don't have balance, where do we go from here? Tell it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga, and of course, colleague panelists and all correspondents who have made their submissions on this very important discussion we are having. Dr. Matsanga, I think the issue of Nigeria and particularly Biafra is a topic that you've really held in Pacific TV for many years. And it's very unfortunate that after so many years and after so many calls coming from various groups, various organizations, and mostly also the people of Biafra, that the leadership in Nigeria has not found it fit or important really to allow the people in Biafra really to have this referendum so that they can be able to determine their fate through this referendum. Because in any case, Dr. Matsanga, you cannot force to lead a population that feel like they really need to determine their fate. They really need to maybe have a self-governance through this referendum. And what I see of President Buhari is really an attempt to try and ignore and assume as though there's nothing happening in Nigeria and particularly in Biafra, that he's not listening to the calls by the people of Biafra really to have this referendum. And it is also very unfortunate, Dr. Matsanga, that even so many organizations in the African continent today have been so mum in as far as what is happening in Nigeria is concerned, and particularly on the chilling reports about deaths, the genocide, about the displacement of people. You cannot imagine a population of people becoming displaced and marginalized by war in their very own country. These are not the kind of stories or pictures we will want to see or even listen unto in the present, of course, Dr. Matsanga. Very unfortunate. And therefore, I think calls by the Biafrans or the indigenous people of course, the Biafra legitimate, genuine, justifiable, that they should be given the opportunity really to determine their fate via referendum. As for President Buhari, and I can understand the kind of feeling that my brothers who have spoken ahead of me, especially those who come from the Biafra region in Nigeria, are really going through because President Buhari came onto power on the backdrop of bringing about a new dawn in Nigeria and uplifting the livelihood of the people of Nigeria, and making sure that it's going to improve on infrastructure, dealing with the menace of insecurity, especially one which is being perpetuated by the Boko Haram. This remains a very major threat in Nigeria as we speak today, Dr. Matsanga. And if President Buhari had made really a step or put an effort to try and address some of the myriad of challenges that the people in Nigeria are facing, then probably there would have been an iota of reason for them to go to the table and see the way forward on this crisis that they have been going through all this long. But because President Buhari is giving a deaf ear, he appears to be blind on these matters and the atrocities that are being committed against the people of Biafra. I think it is only genuine. It's the only best route for the people of Biafra to have this referendum and determine their fate. I do not understand today, Dr. Matsanga, why the authorities in Nigeria really fear to give this opportunity for a referendum to take place. Or perhaps they know they are going to be defeated, they are going to be exposed through this referendum, because again, it's through such kind of an opportunity, through the ballot, the power of the ballot, they can be able to kill the Biafrans, they can be able to displace them, they can of course, torture the people of Biafra, but you see, they cannot actually subdue the power of the ballot, and that's why you see they are not allowing it to happen altogether. So it's unfortunate, but again, we want to continue consistently pursue on this route of having a referendum, and also censure the various organizations in the African continent. More often, Dr. Matsanga, you say that the African Union appears to be more of a toothless dog. It cannot bite. It's not rising to the occasion. How come that you're not seeing any sanctions coming even from the African Union on the leadership of President Buhari in Nigeria? How come that you're not seeing even ECOWAS taking a very serious stand in as far as this crisis is concerned in Nigeria, before you even call on international organs to come and intervene, Dr. Matsanga? But by and large, I want to support the brothers my brothers and sisters in the Biafra land, and their push to have a referendum is genuine and legitimate, and they must be allowed to carry out with that referendum. It's only through that route that they will be able to determine their fate and also bring to an end the conflict and crisis that they find themselves in. Dr. Matsanga, I submit.
First of all, Tawish, let's be honest. When you talk about, there is something that you have just talked that has clicked in my mind, that you are asking for. You ask for a referendum. The government says, what referendum? Definitely, if there is a referendum, there will be no country on the map called Nigeria. Nigeria is on the map drawn by the company that registered it in the British Stock Exchange. But today, when you look at Nigeria, kidnaps, ransom, murder, terrorists, cutting people's hands, as if we were in Saudi Arabia, surely, where your hands are cut off and you walk with no palms. These things are happening. And these are the things that we must stand up now and as people and talk about them. We shouldn't be threatened by Buhari. We shouldn't be told by Buhari that we shouldn't talk about them. There are kidnaps taking place. Those are misses. Up to today, Nigeria has no electricity, no connection of electricity to the last man. Kenya has got electricity to the last person village in Kenya. Where you are, Miriam, in your village, you can go immediately. You don't need to carry a generator. In Nigeria, you must carry a generator all the time you must carry a generator all the time in your car in order to be able to have your battery or your telephone on. So what type of life is this? That a country after 62 years, the richest country on the continent of Africa, has not got, and I repeat, has not got power in all areas. And Kenya, after 50 years, 60 years this year, it has already done all the electricity connected to almost every village. Everybody is enjoying power. Nigeria has 241 waterfalls, equivalent to Lake Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. But there is no hydroelectric power station that has been built to generate hydropower to serve the people. Instead, when you find my brothers from this country called Nigeria, they are going to Dubai to buy generators. It is very sad. Biafran child, we are not laughing at you, but it is very, very, it is very saddening that the biggest product that you see in Kenya Airways or British Airways or KLM are simply generators. In the cargo section, they are going to Abuja, they are going to Lagos, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Onitsha, Kano, Ambra, you know, and yet you are the richest people. Where you are, you come from Ambra, is one of the richest regions in Nigeria. See what you have. You can go for Christmas in Nigeria, and if you don't hurry enough, you need 15 days to reach your village because of the type of roads. The pothole is not a pothole, it's a crater. Some roads are impassable. Look at all that. Let's put it together. Is this a country with huge money? And yet when you look at the leaders have banked money. Madam Aisha Buhari is living luxurious life in Dubai. Where is the money? He's left the people. He's apologizing in Dubai to say, I apologize to you, forgive us, we have not delivered. Didn't you see the list of those who have banked money in Nigeria? The list was very clear to the whole world. and Madame Aisha Juma, Aisha Buhari was one of the people who had banked about $3 billion in American bank. It is giving the Americans interest. It is not giving Nigerian interest. So where do we go from here? I live in wonder.
Mazi Matanga, please, can I just add something like just 30 seconds? Then I will allow my
shortly, yes. Then you can
Thank you. I want to reply to that our brother that just spoke before you take over. I want to tell people the reason why Nigeria don't have good roads, they don't have lights, they don't have good water, and they don't have companies. There is no infrastructure in Nigeria. The reason why is because we are not one people. We don't have the same value system. That is what is playing. Fulani are coming to take over everything. Fulani is coming to run over everybody. That is what is happening today in Nigeria. And when our brother talk about the sanctions of AU, why they are not talking about it? How are you going to talk about sanction when you are beneficiary of that contraption called Daminebuso? They are the people paying them. How did they rendition our leader to that zoo called Nigeria? Africa are so corrupt. That is the reason why. And that is something, the narrative that we want to change. We want Africa to live as a humans. They should stop betraying people. Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, Mazi Matsanga.
Oh my God, there we are. I wish you have it. It is. People wonder you are an in-house analyst. Hold the fire. Let's bring in Dr. Tate. Dr. Tate, you want to say something before you disappear? Because your line seems to be disappearing and coming. Do you want to say something? Or we shall treat you.
Yes. The issue was where currently I am, I have a network issue, but I wanted to join the conversation. The issue in Africa,
yes,
people don't understand that Africa is a country. In Africa, we have many villages whereby they call themselves country. A good example is Nigeria. The reason why Nigeria has always been having some issues day in, day out, it's because it's a village that wants to have many villages in it. Whereas, you ought to discourage, that's my own opinion, Daktari, you ought to discourage the referendum.
No, we are here to give opinion, so don't fear.
Yeah.
You saw Miriam giving her opinion, and she stood by her opinion. And my friend in Germany will stand by his opinion. Yes, go ahead, take.
So we needed to discourage the referendum of the Biafra people. In Africa, we don't need many villages. We need a united village so that we may unite together and become a united nation. Africa is a country. And we as Africans, we need to make sure that our country is safe. We are not divided. Because if you see the issue in Nigeria, it's because one people, they do believe, because there's 83 million of them, they ought not to be in a village by the name Nigeria. But that's totally wrongful. We are all blacks, we are all Africans, and we need to unite. After uniting, Africa will be a single country, and all these resources that are in Africa will be very useful to we as Africans. But if we continue to disunite, Africa will continue to be under colonization 100 years.
Okay, I hear you. We hear you. You want to unite, but I want to ask one question. Do you unite when you are bleeding? I'm asking the panel. We are bleeding. Yeah, Dr. Tej, do you unite when you are bleeding?
Daktari, you can unite when you're bleeding, as long as you know the cause or the core of what you need in this life. If we need...
Dr. Tej, can you unite when you are bleeding? Answer yes or no. Can you unite when you are bleeding?
The direct answer is no. The direct answer is no.
here we are. We agree we want unity of purpose. You have a President Paul Biya. Let's take one example of an African president, because I don't want to use the one next door to Miriam, because I'm very far. Miriam could be dealt with there. I'm very far now, I can talk. Yeah, yes, we are. Yeah, next door, no. Let's use Paul Biya, my Biafran child. Let's use Paul Biya. Paul Biya has been in power for 42 years. I think we came to power when you, Dr. Teach, were not born. He's still in power. He rules from Switzerland in Geneva. He doesn't rule from Yaoundé. He's in a hospital bed in Geneva. His wife flies the hair of Paul Biya on the Paul Biya's head is flown by a special jet for cleaning in Paris. Then brought back for her to wear where the husband is. Now tell me, can you unite with such a situation? AFCON, our African football, was taken to Yaoundé. Mr. Paul Biya came to open officially, and immediately he left. He opened the match. They started. The match was over. He did not go to his house in Yaoundé. He went to the airport and returned to Switzerland. We have another African president who is in Gabon. The man in Gabon, if you left him to walk alone, he cannot walk. But he's still hanging on to power. So you want us to, you are talking of unity. So about that. What unity? Unity must be unity of purpose, Dr. Tej. Unity must produce the benchmarks of unity. One of the benchmarks of unity is reconciliation, restitution, reparation. 2 million people were starved to death and more. Nobody has publicly said, we agree, we did it. Now you expect Nigerians, you expect Biafrans to unite. Those are the misses that we had in the Nigerian saga. In the misses, 62 years, nobody followed up the reconciliation approach, the reparation, the restitution, the giving of same autonomous states. Nigeria has got same autonomous states, but the states have no control because the gentlemen from the north, we call them the tall gentlemen from the north, have come down and taken everything. Tawish talked about the AU. AU has another tall guy from Chad, from the same Fulani brigade, Dr. Muhammad Faki. He cannot talk about the plight of Biafrans, because once you bring the plight of Biafrans in Nigeria, the plight of Chad will go to pieces. Do you know that? Chad is just ruled by Dabi's family. Otherwise, if you leave Chad, there will be the group of Hissène Habré and the one of Idris Dabi, the late. All of them have gone. They are meeting down there near God. I don't know what they are doing. They must be fighting. So look at that scenario. Look at that Africa we are talking about. So an Africa that is bleeding cannot unite. We need an Africa where there is no bleeding. Then my brother, the Biafran child, can say, okay, let's look at it. Maybe we are right here. But when you are bleeding, you are bleeding. You are being killed. If I show you the Dr. Ted, if I show you the Biafra land, the southeastern part of this state called Nigeria, The role, how the army, the police, the security agencies have treated the younger generation there. They pull them on Land Rover, tie their legs, and they peel their heads through the villages to show people that if you want to talk about Biafra, this is what will happen to you. It is very pathetic. We must condemn it, and we must start now. Wanda, Elvis, before I come back to Miriam in the studio.
Thank you so much. It's really good to listen to such submissions. When you look into, when you talk of a person bleeding and then asking that person to unite, to get together, then in this case, you are creating a defiant person. That for so many years, this person will always be defiant. They will never unite for an economic purpose. They will never unite to grow, but their unity is, the unity that comes with an angry man is a unity built on defiance. Number two, when I look at Nigeria as a country, 62 years after being a liberated nation, then I get to the work of Ichioma. This is a professor in a Southern University in USA. Professor talks of, he looks at Nigeria in his work, the struggles of post-independence Nigeria. Then he identifies some few things that one of the areas that Professor identifies as a shattered economy, that he looks at as Nigeria as a country that has shattered economy, that yes, potentials are there, but the economy is shattered, of which what shatters the economy, then he looks at the unemployment and so many things, that by 2020, about 23% of Nigerians, 33% of Nigerians, that is the youth that are qualified, they were not employed. This amount to about 23 million youths. Then you look at when did the rain start beating Nigeria? Then you drive back all the way to 1985 to 1993, when the IBB boys were active, the Ibrahim Babangida boys. Then the Ibrahim Babangida boys, with the Ibrahim Babangida as a president, that you can easily convince yourself and say that Babangida is the person that introduced corruption in Nigeria. That today leaders get into positions in Nigeria not to serve their subjects, but they get in position on how do they protect their interests as individuals, how do they enrich themselves, which for so many years has introduced tribalism, nepotism, and in generally shattering the economy of Nigeria. Therefore, when I look at Nigeria, yes, it is a country that has quite a lot of potentials, but some of the potentials that Nigeria has, they're as well being used to pin them down, to kill the common person. That the oil they're having, the gas they're having, that is the natural gas they're having, they're the root cause of corruption in Nigeria. That instead of using them to create a total, to create a powerful nation economic-wise, in as much as we look at it as the more developed nation in economic-wise in Africa, but the riches that Nigeria has and the kind of leadership Nigeria gets, they have been getting leaders that get into position, front themselves to enrich their tribes, to get their team, a group of persons that will be very powerful for them to be powerful, to remain powerful. And all this trickle down to a person called Ibrahim Babangida in his regime of from 1885 all the way to 1993. That Babangida got into position, then was able to create a system that for so many years keeps hurting Nigeria, that for so many years keeps sidelining some other persons, that keeps creating two groups of citizens. That those that should be called like you're supposed to sit on the table, then dine with the big boys, then that group of persons that are supposed to sit on the floor as the big boys dine on the tables. And then you look at this, as much as I'm trying to point a finger to Ibrahim Babangida, it still goes back to how was Africa established? And how did African countries come to birth? That African countries came to birth as an angry person who was uniting in their specific states to become free, of which the unity in this case, the Europeans came in to take what we had to promote their industries during the era of industrial revolution, of which when they now had to stop, they stopped at a point when our persons knew that these guys have grown rich because they were able to take what we had. And therefore, our leaders keeps behaving like the very colonial regimes, that when you get to opposition, this country has riches. Don't struggle so much with these persons that you are leading your subjects, but try as much as possible enrich yourselves the same way the colonial regimes were able to enrich themselves. Therefore, I feel like Nigeria at 62, it's still not the Nigeria that should be at 62. Nigeria has quite a lot of potential that if such potentials will be well harvested, or rather well taken care of, then promoted, then Nigeria could be a completely different country in Africa. Allow me to learn from there as I keep listening to others. Nona Linda Nasheko and I say landing.
All right. Thank you for landing. Thank you so much. I don't know who hasn't said something. I'm sure we all have, I believe. Doc, if you can hear me. All right. Go ahead. Okay, Chuku.
All right. Thank you, Punchline African Television. Thank you, my sister. There is something that I wanted to correct from here, because there is one of our brother, I couldn't remember his name. He said that African don't need to have their own countries, that we are one people. We have to understand this. Africans are not one people. No, I don't agree with that. How can you tell me that I, the Biafran person, have something doing with Fulani people? We don't have the same culture. We don't have the same way of life. We don't have the same value system. What African needs is to stand on their own and take the bull by the horn and know how to govern themselves. Because what makes us human is if we have inability to reason. If we can be able to have inability to reason, trying to govern our people, trying to stand up to also contribute to the world GDP. That is what we need. You cannot begin to tell me that somebody that comes from Futajelon, we are one people. No. When you come to Europe today, why Europe are successful is because they have their own people. They go on competition. That is how Africa will grow. If you are telling me that we have to be together in one village, trying to have everything together, it can never work. We have to go our separate ways, govern ourselves. We have to understand who we are. The indigenous people that find themselves in any place in Africa. You stay there, you take the bull by the horn and help your own people and govern your own people and let them have the reasoning. The understanding what it is, not into criminality. That is what I want to add here. If we can be able to have our own countries, if we go into competition, that is how Africa will grow. And this is how Europe grows today. Also in America. That is what I want to add. So I disagree that we have to be one people. We are not one people. No, I don't agree with that. Thank you.
Okay. I think your response was directed to some of the issues that Dr. Tech, I think, raised there.
Dr. Tech. Tech will not manage this. He will easy. Dr. Tech, can you try to answer the Biafran child? He says he has told you what it means. How do you unite? Yes.
Okay. Let me answer the Biafra child. Whereby in Africa, the main issue that we have in Africa is division. And if we continue to have that same division, I can guarantee you 100 years down the line, we'll have nothing. Unity is our strength. We may have some differences in our cultures. We may have some differences in our way of beliefs and in our own religion. But that does not make us different. We are all Africans. First and foremost, the Biafra people ought to be given their democratic right. It's very barbaric for an African to kill another African. It's very barbaric and demonic for an African to oppress another African. I do agree with him.
Also apply to people from Europe, also in America. If you are saying something like that, that means we are all one people. From the genesis of this world, we are one people, but as time goes on, you have your own people. How can you tell me to unite with Fulanese that we, the Biafran people, the resources that Nigeria is using today is from our land, but they have denied us everything in totality, and you are telling me to go and work with Fulanese? Believe you me, I and Fulani are not the same. We can never be the same.
But Okechukwu, he also appreciated the need for the people of Biafra to be allowed to charter their own future forward. I think Dr. Tech, I heard you say that.
Yes, Dr. Tech is saying, Biafran child, Dr. Tech is saying he needs you to have your democratic right. And he agrees with you that if there is no democratic right, then you cannot even be able, it is un-African to kill another African. That's what Dr. Tech is saying. And I agree with him that there are people who have always produced. It is, you people, if you listen to what I was telling you at the beginning, Miriam, it was in the doctrine of the divide and rule, the British doctrine of colonization. That once you arrive there, don't allow them to be together. That's it. If you look at most of all the colonial Africa of Britain, the northern parts of these countries have produced on the soldiers. I'm telling you, look, in Ghana, where does a champong come from? A champong comes from the top upper Volta region, which came to overthrow his own brother-in-law, Kwame Nkrumah. You see, in Nigeria, the soldiers come from the north. They are supplied from the north. In Uganda, the whole of northern Uganda was a supply for soldiers. Northern Ugandans were told, Mr. Biafra child, you have to go to the army. We, the Southerners, Bantu people, were told, you have to go to Makerere University for studies, to be civil servants, white-collar men, sitting in offices, rolling chairs. Now, that is, if you look at Sudan, the Al-Mahdi rebellions. Who was fighting the Al-Mahdi rebellions? Captain Lugard went there. He collected northern Ugandans, took all of them to fight all the way to fight the Arab Al-Mahdi groups. So we were connected. We are brought on this idea of colonization, a doctrine, while you are reading the Bible, the oil is rolling. By the time we woke up, the oil had already gone. Now the colonial master left and brought in men who wanted to stash money abroad. Abacha died, and some money of Abacha has never been recovered. Am I wrong, Mr. Biafra? You can't recover his money because the PIN number,
there is no...
He died with the PIN number in his head.
And how can you continue, Matsanga?
That's the Africa, Miriam, that's the Africa we have. There are people who are Switzerland. Look at Mr. Paul Robia. Paul Robia, why the Swiss government want him to be there? Because he's going to die with the PIN number in the head. Then when you die with the PIN number in the head, the Swiss government opens the box. There is a department, a full ministry that opens boxes of dead people. And the dollars that were kept there, the diamonds, the gold, the amount of money that was touched in those accounts, because there is no other PIN number, you died with the PIN number. Abacha went with the PIN number. There are so many Nigerian heads of state who have gone with their PIN numbers. And how much money is that lost? So we have a problem. We have to address this. In 1981, we went for a donor conference with my boss in Geneva. I was a PA to one of my bosses who was the chairman of Coffee Marketing Board. I was ashamed, Miriam. I was young by then. I was not very sharp like this. If I had been sharp, I would not have gone on that journey because it was an embarrassment. When we sat in the boardroom, the man who we had gone to borrow money for the government of Uganda to resuscitate industries, the guy came to say, amongst you, there is a man who has more money than what you're asking for. And it is here in this bank. So we looked like this. Who is this? And at that time, I didn't have the money. And the only person, Miriam, who had the money was my boss. So I sat near him, and he was stepping on my, I used to be very radical. He was stepping on my leg not to speak. He stepped on my leg so painfully for me not to speak. So as we are getting out of that bank, that office, then he said, what did you want to speak now there? These English guys, white guys, are very bad. We came to borrow the money, then he's revealing my money. Then I said, boss, so this money is yours? Said, yes. That same afternoon, he sent me with a note to go back to the same general manager to draw 22,000 dollars. By then, that was a lot of money. $22,000 can hire you a plane from Europe up to Africa, then back to Europe. And I went, it was in big notes. I carried it nicely. There was no 50 like today, up to our hotel, where he gave us like $100 each to go and pay our hotel, our food and so on each. So look, Africa has a problem. There are people who have snatched money, and then you are now telling us to unite. When you uniting with an angry man is the most dangerous thing. There is no unity with an angry man. He will eat you. Dr. Tate, he will eat you in the house. And one of the things, yesterday, we were on our Twitter handle, Biafra, as we come to the close of our show. We have still 18 minutes. Yesterday, we were on the Twitter. We asked Africa, what are we prepared for this war? Miriam, there is yesterday someone who said in the morning that we should act as a pawn. Is it a pawn? Was it a pawn, or what did he say?
Pawn. Someone suggested that because we're being used as a pawn between the East and the West.
Oh, we are being used
so we might
as a
as
pawn.
well just
So we
take
should
advantage
act
and benefit from both sides.
We should take the advantage and eat on both sides of Ukraine and Russia.
Of the western side and
I think
the east. China.
And the Russian side. I think this is the Africa we have. Time has come, maybe eating on both sides can save us. Because every time when you look at a man like Abacha, General Buhari's treatment is done in Charing Cross in London. And the treatment that he's doing in London could be done in Abuja Hospital. But he doesn't want to go there.
Mazi Matsanga, are you talking about dead Buhari or the impostor or the one parading himself as a Buhari?
Oh.
Because I have to tell you, we said things the way it is, and down the consequences always.
Yes, go ahead. I didn't want it to come from my mouth.
You must come from my mouth because we know these people, we know them very well. I want you all to also understand. You can also agree with me because this Buhari we are talking about, he came to our land, he went to our land, I think that was last week, according to them, but the one that came to our place in Imo State, he was an impostor, he was a mask wearer. Of course, Buhari died in 2017, and he died in Morocco. He did not die in London hospital. Because Nigeria, that's why I keep on saying that Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria is something like they call national cake.
So
Come and take your own.
So he died in 2017, but he was elected and re-elected. Help me understand.
You said what? I mean, Buhari died before his second tenure. Buhari died before the second tenure. And before he got there.
But he was re-elected. So who was re-elected in Nigeria?
Yes, that is what we are talking about, African people. The same thing happened before in Nigeria during the time of Yaradua. Yaradua died. They still want to cover it. But the problem is like the woman that was in charge to announce the death of Yaradua is a Biafran woman. Do you know that after the announcement of the death of Yaradua, they killed the woman today? The woman is no more alive because they killed him. But because that the Fulanis, they are the people in charge, they try to cover it up. I want to give you an example, and you must agree with me.
They brought Biafra child. They brought this man. You mean the current president is not the real one?
Yeah, the current, you mean the Buhari that we have today have died. And he was buried in Saudi Arabia in shallow grave. I don't lie, some people won't see it that way. But I want you to see, the Buhari we are talking about today, Buhari is supposed to be something years old. I want you to go and see the man that came to our land in Imo State. You will see how fast this man is. We are talking about a something years old man. Go and see Tinubu, the one that is fighting for isn't APC today. According to Buhari is older than Tinubu, but Tinubu can't even raise his hand. Buhari was sick on the bed. So what I'm trying to say is this. The man that is parading himself today in that contraption as a Buhari is not Buhari, because we know who Buhari is. We know how Buhari works. We know his action. What he's doing today is somebody that they just imposed on our people because of the system, because of Fulani have been taken over. They do everything from top to bottom. That is what the Buhari said. They are in control, so they can be able to hide anything they want to hide. We have been saying this. Even though the Queen Elizabeth, the one that just died, sent a death Congress letters to Nigerian people telling them that their president have died. But because of the system of that contraption, now Africa need they need to be decolonized to come out from this mess that we are into. But I'm telling you that the man that you are seeing today is not Buhari, because the man that is in Nigeria today, they are calling the president of Nigeria. When you see him, is like 40 years old man. He's like me. The way, even though he's moving more faster than his security, he moves faster than his security. The man.
I think I intended to agree with you on. I saw the guy moving very fast in Kigali.
Yes.
He climbed the hill in Kigali to go to the Commonwealth.
Maybe he works out.
Faster than our president.
Maybe he works out. He eats well. He takes traditional African food. He's strong.
But Miriam, I think I'm beginning to research on this because he moved very fast than our president was in Kigali. He moved very fast.
He's a general. Generals. My father worked with the army before. He's 74 now and is very upright and strong and very active. So.
Yeah, but you are right.
What about
me?
My sister.
I'm 67. So boss.
Okay.
I'm 67 and I'm still moving very fast.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Matsanga is 67 years old, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I'm telling you that the man in Asorok today is more younger than Matsanga, so what are you going to tell me?
Good. He takes a lot of water and moisturizes well. Come on, guys.
It seems that are you defending the dead?
I operate. No. I can speak for myself. I can speak for myself. I'm a journalist. I operate on facts. That's what I do.
Of course, I do understand.
Yes,
It's just,
I understand with
it's
facts.
just a joke. But I want you to know this. We know this man very well. I myself, I have studied about this man, the movement,
yes,
the way he speaks, and the look of this man.
Yes.
You know, when you see somebody that is you see an old age, there is no how you can change old age. You see, they told us that Buhari went to London hospital. He take a very good treatment. They pay a lot of money. Now I begin to ask myself, when Elizabeth died, why can't they change this woman to still be alive? Why can't they prepare all those things they did for Buhari for this woman to live? How? Can somebody tell me? That means that the man there have died. They just put somebody because there's something about Fulani people. Fulani people can never remain in that powerful.
If I can follow your story, because I'm really trying to understand what you're saying. So it is the British who did what? He was supposed to have died in Saudi Arabia, or is it the British?
He died and they changed it. They gave another name called Jabril.
Yes, what really happened is this. Buhari died. He died in Morocco. He did not die in London. Of course, they took him to London. Probably, maybe they think because it's a Europe or they they are so intelligent, maybe they can revise him back. But before they got there, the man have already died. So when they died, there's a man they called Abba Kyari. The Abba Kyari also, they have died because when Buhari died, Abba Kyari took over Buhari. Now, when he took over Buhari, he bring an impostor called Jubri Aminu El-Sudani. After Jubri Aminu El-Sudani was there, and COVID-19 came up, and Abba Kyari contacted this COVID, and they have to travel to Cuba to trying to bring himself back, but unfortunately he died. And when this man was traveling to Cuba, he take the impostor, which is Aminu El-Sudani, because the Aminu El-Sudani, he doesn't know much about Nigeria. Everything that he does have to come from Abba Kyari. When Abba Kyari took this man to Cuba, and then Abba Kyari died in Cuba, the man decided not to come back again in Nigeria. So who they are using today, in Nigeria, they have a lot of mask wearer. Aisha Buhari boyfriend is also, using mask as Buhari. My sister, all these things I'm saying, you will see it as a joke, or you think that I don't know what I'm saying, but what I'm telling you is authentic. There is also a brother from Biafra land. He's a comedian. That one, he looks like Buhari also. He mimic Buhari. He mimic people. He can speak like Buhari too. That one too, do you know that they took this our brother from us? They have given this our brother a Fulani woman, and they have made a kids. So they are using different people in different occasions. You understand? Like the first time that Buhari came to our land, they dressed Buhari like an old man to suit their occasion. This time around, Buhari have turned himself as a 40-years-old person. So all these things they are doing is because of Nigerian people don't have an ability to reason. They don't reason. They don't even think that somebody that you call your president was there for, since we are saying that he died, for going to 3 years. This man never came out to address people of Nigeria, to take questions from media or from the journalists. He never, up to date that I'm speaking to you. But Buhari is only active when he traveled to Europe. What are you going to tell me about that? That you are governing a country for complete 3 years now, or going to 4 years. You never came out to speak to people.
That is true.
But when you go to Poland, you go there, you begin to parade yourself, saying all manners of, because there is no Nigerians there.
And he did not show up. He did not show up for the party after the second win. I get part of what you're saying.
Miriam, I think I begin to see something, because when Buhari is in international conferences, he's very vocal, free. But I've never seen him address the nation
in Nigeria.
Closer, he addresses in his house and closes the door and goes away. He
does like addresses from is it Aso Rock? That is the state house. But he never takes questions from journalists. That is true.
Yes.
What you said there.
Because journalists could ask him what is the mask, or it could sweat. You know, there is something which is very wrong here. The rats, the mice came and ate his office. It is very bad luck in Africa for mice to eat your home. You know, things are not very good.
You throw me back again. You take me back again. You know, do you know that mask? That rat, they will say that he chased Buhari away from his office. No, that was when Buhari died. He died, and you know, in Aso Rock, during the time of Babangida, because of the coup, now they're trying to fix all the whole doors with their fingerprints, so that nobody can be able to penetrate the Aso Rock. That is and that is the routine for every president that will be there. So then we change the doors with your fingerprint. So whenever you are there, any coup they carried, they will never get to you. That is what really happened when Buhari died. So they're trying to renovate so that they can be able to open the office again. That is when they bring a propaganda telling the world or telling the people of Nigeria, because Nigeria has no inability to reason. That is why we call some of them animal. When you say you are in Nigeria, we call you animal because you don't have inability to reason. How can Aso Rock supposed to be the finest house in that contraption called Daminebuzu, Nigeria? But how can a rat be in a Aso Villa, chasing the president away? That is when they were trying to change some systems, some doors, to put new ones so that Jubri Aminu Eswani can be able to access the office. That is what the propaganda is all about. I'm telling you people the fact. Yes. That is what the propaganda was, so that he can be able to access the office. And when they finish their job, this Aminu Eswani could be able to access the office. Then they tell us that we will have been back again. That is what really happened. They're trying to fix everything. Yes.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We seem to have come to the end of our show. We have had a very meaningful discussion, interaction from Biafra Child, from Wanda Swesonga, Dr. Tej, and Miriam and Tawish, and others who have been online following. The following are the points, the misses. Security in Nigeria is dead. That's a miss. 62 years, security is dead. Dead as D-E-A-D. Dead. There is no security at all in Nigeria. There are bands of warlords killing each other, abducting children, ladies, women, taking hostage, demanding ransoms. Corruption is a miss on the continent, on the nation of Nigeria. Justice is a miss on the nation of Nigeria. Economy is collapsed. The number of jobs or jobless out of 220 million ranges to almost 60 million people who are jobless. Governance structures have collapsed. That is a miss. There is no, the only thing that has been hit in Nigeria, which we have got a hit, which the government seems to have got, is money transfer by phone. There's money transfer by Naira. You can send Naira to another Naira. Fine. That's okay. That's a hit. It's a technology. Another thing is ICT. ICT in the entire Nigeria is a hit. Nigeria is one of the few countries on the continent of Africa where ICT is classic. Your information technology, telephone, and so on and so forth. You can steal everything, but you cannot steal a phone from anybody in that country. Geographical country. Sir, dear friend Charlie, don't kill me when I say Nigeria. The geographical Nigeria. Okay, because I know you don't want to hear that. So that is a hit. That is okay. On the question of devolution, I think it is a hit. They have managed to have developed states. Anambra is a state with a governor. However powerful the governor is, there is that recognition of us belonging to the state of Anambra, the state of Maiduguri, all those states, the cities, and the others, the state, that one they have managed. Devolution has worked very well with regions, federal states, federal systems. The federal system in Nigeria has worked. It has on foreign affairs. Nigeria plays a very vital role in the United Nations and other international fora because of its population. But has it helped the people of Africa? That is my last question. Therefore, security, corruption, justice, economy, governance are all a miss. We have a state that is sinking. We have a state that needs help. Buhari, with the incoming election, the Nigerians should sit down and think on whom they should vote for. Otherwise, this state of Africa is going down and down and down and down. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, let's give our guest a message to his people. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mazi Matsanga, and thank you very much, Punch African Television. I want to say this also about the dead Bugatti, because if you can see, there's many times our leader Mazi Nnamdi Okukano have challenged Nigerian people. He told them, not once, not twice, he told them, if they can prove that Bugatti is alive, he will abandon Biafran restoration. Up to date, they never talk about it. All the whole accuse they are giving to our leader, they never even add why our leader was saying that Bugatti have died. We have said this thing time without number. That is something that they're supposed to add there so that they will come and debunk it. But none of them have come to, to say that Bugatti is still alive. That to show you that the man we're talking about have died for a long time ago and was buried in Saudi Arabia. Today, when you go there, what you will see is only the skeleton of Bugatti. And again, I will not forget to talk about the leader of indigenous people of Biafra.
Yes, that's why I gave those minutes. take it to the trial in Anambra.
Okay, I think you mean the court case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu you are talking about, because my voice is low.
Yes.
This volume is low. I couldn't hear you well.
Yes,
but let me touch
the court case. The court
okay,
case.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. When we are saying that Nigeria is not a country, Nigeria don't know what is law. Nigeria never, practice law. They don't even know what it is. That is the reason why you are seeing all the shenanigans in that contraption. You are seeing every people coming to grab as much as they can. I keep on telling our people that something they have to understand, that Nigeria have expired. The amalgamation of Nigeria have expired. That is something that our people must to understand and always keep that in their mind. That Nigeria, nobody is in Nigeria. So today, as you can see, our leaders' court case is proceeding today in Abia State, Umuahia, where the zoo called Nigeria came to his house in 2017 with battalions, with a fighter jets. They were shooting like people are not human. At the same day, they killed 28 men in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu compound. But God so good, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu escaped the assassination, because we call it assassination. That is not they are not coming to arrest him. They are coming to kill him, because they know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the face of this Biafran restoration project. And they are thinking that if they kill Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that Biafra will die. But we keep on telling them. Today, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in DSS dungeon. They rendition him from Kenya. African people there is a lot of evil in Africa. That is why we are saying that what Africa have to do is for them to come back and know how to govern themselves and have inability to reason. That is only what we need, so that we can be able to live as a human. They came to Afaruku Ibeku. They killed a lot of people. They killed 28 men. They shoot every places in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu house. But do you know that today Nigeria just accepted in the last court appearance of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Abuja? The reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu left Afaruku Ibeku, that to show you there is nothing like law in Nigeria, because nobody is in Nigeria. Just do as you like. That is why today Fulani are rampaging, Boko Haram are killing. May Allah, the root of all this, terrorist organization, they are freely in Nigeria, walking around, doing all the activities. Nobody stops them. And they are going about with AK-47, killing and maiming our people, adopting our women, raping them, stopping our mothers for to go for their farms. The Fulani have destroyed all the crops of our people. That to show you that we are not one people. I keep on saying this, and we never stop saying this, that only what can solve problem in that contraption is to cease Nigerian to exist. This integration, because before the colonial people came, we are different people with different value system and way of life and culture. That is what we are saying, that we want to go back how we were before the colonial people came. So as you can see today, everything is playing out there, black and white. It's playing in black and white. But do you know that Nigerian system, that is why I call them, they don't know what they are doing. Today, they never recognize, they're still going for the court. That everybody saw it, that they came to Afaruku Ibeku to kill our leader because they are coming for assassination. But they couldn't. But the court in that zoo called Nigeria today never accept that this man run for his life. Now, do you see why we say this integration of that contraption is the solution, and there is nothing they can do about it? Our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, knows the reason why he is today in DSS dungeon. He have told us before this thing happened that he's going to front this agitation. He said he will front it. Of course, some of us, we are not happy that he have been captured today, but we also know the reason why he's there. He spoke to us through one of his courts. He told us Biafra must come, and we believe him. He is a Messiah of our time. And when you are calling Jesus, we see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as our Jesus. I don't believe in all those things. I believe in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and he is the one that is going to bring Biafra for us. You see, today we have a lot of infiltrators. Zuko Nigeria have infiltrated our people. Zoo agents are using our people. They are coming to destroy what Mazi Nnamdi have built. But we are standing firm, telling them there is nothing they can do because we have chosen our path on this Biafran restoration project, either Biafra or nothing. And we will keep on fighting till Biafra is totally restored. Most of us are today in exile, of course, but we are not going to stop. I have forgotten Nigeria for them. I've gave them Nigeria. They should go with Nigeria and eat whatever they want to do with it. But on Biafran restoration, this is where we will die. And when we are talking about referendum, I know that referendum is the real due process for people to have their own country. But in Nigeria, it will be other way around. We must take the bull by the horn because Zoo call Nigeria, they are not ready to give anybody referendum. And we are going to take it by force. We must take our freedom by force, whether the world like it, whether they hate us. It does not matter. We always pray for heaven to fall. So every one of us will go. So this is what I want to say. And I hope that the court case of our leader today will yield a good fruit because the last court case appearance in Abuja, they have said and they admitted that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ran for his life. He did not just run away, but he ran for his life because it's only three. We hear that they want to cut him off, he will still stay there. But a human being, when you tell him that I want to kill you, he will run for his life. Our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not commit any crime. Our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is telling the zoo the truth. Our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not only fighting for Biafran people, he's fighting for the whole Africa, so that Africa can stand on the ground and begin to contribute to the GDP, so the world will see us as a human. We are nobody. I'm living in Europe today. When you see how they treat us, of course, we may dress good, we may drive a very good car, but when time comes, then we tell you you are nobody. Mazi Matsanga, I will stop here. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. All right.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you very much, Biafra child. Thank you very much. We gave you time to give your message to your people. We don't advocate for violence. We talk for the people. We ask for peaceful means of delivering our people, of getting Africa together. I want to thank you very much that one day Africa will rise and the freedom that they have yearned much. We pray that this comes to do it. It is very simple. If referendum can be held in Russia under guns, why can't we hold a referendum peacefully in Nigeria so that people can decide their destiny? Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Elves Wanda. Thank you, Biafra Child, Tawish, Dr. Tej, all of you. God bless you. God bless Africa. From the command center in London to you, Nairobi, Miriam, back to you. I land the microphone.
All right. Thank you so much. And that's where we end our show this afternoon. About 11 minutes past 1 p.m. here in Nairobi, East African time. A very good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are watching us and tuned in. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.